I started having outbreaks of acne recently, and I couldn't pin it down. I couldn't figure out what was causing it. And acne is a very common condition, and there are very diverse presentations of acne and different reasons why different people might get acne. In virtual reality, there's a specific type of acne that's known as acne mechanica that is due to the friction or the shearing forces of virtual reality on the follicles on the skin of the face. And it makes sense. If you constantly rub against these follicles, you expect a few skin cells to become dislodged and stuck within the follicle itself, and it can cause a backup of content within the follicle, which leads to something forming known as a microcomedone. I wanted to share tips and some tricks with you about acne mechanica, or occlusive forms of acne, and how we can solve the issue and make your VR experience both healthy and fun at the same time. And you might even get benefits from your entire face and your entire skin based off of the recommendations that I am going to give you today. Well, how do you know you're dealing with something like acne mechanica, or how do you know you're dealing with occlusive types of acne? Think long and hard about it. Maybe you never had acne all over your face and all of a sudden you've started getting some. Another thing that you might find helpful is to look at the distribution of where you get your acne. In the classic teaching, acne mechanica should really only happen in areas that are occluded by your virtual reality headset. It's the same reason why a lot of people started getting acne around the lower face during the pandemic when many people were wearing masks. It's the occlusion and then the friction on top of the skin that caused that acne. The same thing is going on in the VR headset. It's just moved from the bottom aspect of the face to the top aspect of the face. And that's exactly where my acne is now. You can't really see it too well on the front facing camera, but maybe when the light hits just well, you can see these subtle bumps and these subtle bumps and these textural changes on this side of my face over here. The reason for that is acne mechanica, and what this is, these are comedones forming. So they go through these stages where you get microcomedones, small comedones, to regular comedones if you don't intervene quickly enough. What do I mean by intervene? So this is the bulk of the video. This is the meat of the matter. We want to know how to prevent this. I'm not endorsed by any of these products, and this is not medical advice whatsoever. In fact, if this problem goes on long enough and it forms bad enough acne for you, then I do believe that number one, your priority should be seeking the advice of a medical professional, one who knows you specifically. Now, with acne mechanica, there's a couple of things that we need to do to fix the issue at hand. Number one, we know the problem is friction and stress on top of the face, shearing forces on top of the face. There's not too much we can do about that. In virtual reality, we want to enjoy ourselves, and a big part of that means that we will have to have some contact somewhere on our head with a virtual reality device. It might be worth looking into different styles of headsets or head straps. This Dream Ear from Pimax comes with a sort of a band-like head strap that starts here and gets secured at the back of your scalp. And it's typically very comfortable for extended periods of time. The only issue is, because there's only one pressure point on the headset, it relies on the seal or the gasket here being in direct contact with the frontal part of your face, the same area that is mostly affected by acne mechanica. A way around this that I think you should look into is looking at third-party VR headsets or head straps. I've used this halo mount from my Meta Quest device that surprisingly works well with the Pimax Dream Ear without any modifications to the head strap or the headset itself. That's one thing that you can consider. Another thing that you can consider is part of the problem is this occlusion of the hair follicle by these skin cells that get broken off from the friction. So we can try to maybe soften up these skin cells. We can use things like exfoliating agents. Salicylic acid, for example, is a good exfoliating agent on the keratinocytes or the skin cells that get them softened up and allow them to leave the follicle a little bit easier without being stuck. Something else that works really well in this realm is the retinoid. Retinoids are these products, these topical products that can increase the turnover of your skin cells and allow them to slough off a lot easier. It's something that I recommend a lot of patients to be on for all types of acne. So in the process of you treating your acne mechanica, you may actually be treating all types of acne. And I could put some recommendations for different types of retinoids down below. One of them that you probably will start off with is an over-the-counter version. It's called adapalene. And in the United States, at least, it's available up to 0.1% over the counter without a prescription from your dermatologist. This wasn't always the case. It was a prescription-only medication not too long ago. But it works really well for this type of acne and this type of what we call the comedogenic forms of the comedonal types of acne, which acne mechanica can fit into, especially in the early stages. If your acne progresses quite long, then something you would realize is that you start getting these red inflamed bumps, sometimes becoming tender to the touch in the area. This is not dangerous to your health overall, but the issue is when long-term inflammation remains, scarring is a possibility. And if you don't scar, then maybe you might have pigmentary changes in the area after that inflammation dies down. Now, these things can take weeks to months to even years or be permanent in terms of their resolution. I'd just rather you not get there. Whenever this inflammation sets in and this redness, well, you really should be thinking about seeing a dermatologist, but you can probably start getting by using things like benzoyl peroxide. It's over the counter as well, and I'll recommend some brands. Maybe Panoxyl is a brand, and Differin is a brand that sells benzoyl peroxide in different strengths. I'd say start weak, 4%. It can be a little bit irritating and drying. You don't want to jump to the stronger things immediately. So look into benzoyl peroxide. That might be an option for you. On that chain of thought, what does benzoyl peroxide do? Well, at its core, it's actually an antimicrobial, because another part of acne means that once these follicles get clogged up, it opens up and sets up the shop for things like bacteria to inhabit the follicles. And the follicles, apart from being occluded, they don't like bacteria just thriving inside of it. So one of the things that we can do about this is to limit the amount of bacteria that's in there, and benzoyl peroxide is an antimicrobial that can help to do that. Normally else, and probably one of the last tips that I want to leave with you is the facial interface itself. Now, we talked about how the strap and putting pressure on your face can cause acne mechanica, but what we don't think about quite often is that these things can get quite dirty. And when I say dirty, I mean there's nothing wrong with you. I'm not calling you dirty as a VR gamer, although I know sometimes we can sacrifice hygiene when we want to enjoy the game. I'm no better than you all. I do this all the time, but after doing this for some time, you start to accumulate dead skin cells on the VR headset, and you also start to accumulate bacteria on the VR headset in the process of doing that. You transfer bacteria from your face onto the headset, onto the interface itself, and just being in the environment, bacteria like to sit up and set up shop right on your virtual reality headset. So you set up this cycle where the headset has bacteria on it, the headset has dead skin cells on it, your face has dead skin cells and bacteria on it, and you don't give those follicles a chance to breathe. So we should intervene, not only by using antimicrobials on the face. I wouldn't really recommend putting benzoyl peroxide on your VR headset, but I would just recommend cleaning it every now and then. A lot of these headsets have removable facial interfaces that you can take off. This is a beautiful example of one. Where this padding is, just go ahead and use some alcohol. I'd recommend isopropyl alcohol, like 70%, on a clean towel, and just giving this a smooth wipe off after every virtual reality session. And it will prepare you for your next virtual reality session. So you don't have to waste time cleaning it before you get into virtual reality. You know it's already clean. Go ahead and give that a try. Clean this thing off. Clean off all other aspects of the virtual reality headset that might come in contact with your face. This is a good way to reduce the bacterial load and the microbial load on your virtual reality headset. Look, I'm not gonna tell you that this will solve all your acne problems. Actually, I wouldn't want to do that. Then I would be out of a job. I mean, there has to be a reason that you come see me in the office eventually. But these are a good starting point for how you can treat things like this pesky acne in the area as well. So this is open source VR, and thank you for joining me today, and thank you for listening.